And continuing on this subject of abortion rights, here in the EU, the country of Malta was the only EU member to have a total ban on abortions until last June. Now the procedure is allowed only in rare circumstances. And for more on this, I'm joined by Isabel Stabile. She is a gynecologist in private practice at St. James Hospital, Malta. She's also affiliated with the University of Malta. Thanks so much for being with us here on France 24. So first of all, where do abortion rights stand at this moment in time in Malta? When is the procedure allowed?
Well, it is now legally possible to terminate a pregnancy when there is a medical complication that will lead to a risk of death. And that risk of death must be imminent. Otherwise, no abortion would be possible. In addition to that, three specialists will need to authorize the abortion, which is actually a very large step back from where it was before, where actually only one doctor needed to intervene, for example, for an ectopic pregnancy. So we need three doctors on the specialist register to authorize abortion when a woman's health is in grave jeopardy, which can lead to death. The other condition that has to be met is that she needs to be in a licensed hospital, and the consultants must verify that the termination is medically necessary and that the fetus is not yet of a viable age. So if you look at all these conditions together, it's very easy to see how this law will actually make it almost impossible for women to access termination of pregnancy unless they are literally at death's door.
Yeah,
this is a very big step backwards.
That's a very high bar. So for a Maltese woman who wants to have an abortion, how difficult is it? And does she have to travel far to access that kind of medical care?
Well, no, nowhere is very far on this very tiny island. But once you have a law such as this, with so many conditions that make it literally impractical to use in most practical situations, doctors will not be able to overcome all these barriers. And they will wait until the very, very last minute, by which time it may well be too late to save the woman. So this is a step backwards, in fact, rather than a step forwards.
Now, as I understand it, you also spent part of your career in the U.S., and there's an argument that many of these laws restricting abortion in many U.S. states are disproportionately impacting poorer women and those who don't have the means to travel. What do you say to people about that issue?
Yes, well, that applies to Malta as well. We have a large expatriate community, some of whom have visas that are restricted in the sense that they cannot travel easily. We also have a large migrant community that are, unfortunately, due to our draconian laws, being virtually imprisoned. So these individuals are not in a position to obtain either medical abortion pills, which are, by the way, very easily accessible on the island, or indeed travel. Speaking of medical abortion, I should mention that there's at the very least, one woman every single day having an abortion in Malta. It's probably more than that, judging from the number of pills that are being shipped to us every single day.
Now, you're saying we're taking a step backwards in Malta. Today is International Safe Abortion Day. That's what abortion rights and medical groups have declared the day. In general, when we talk about the world, do you think that's also the case globally, that we're taking a step backwards when it comes to abortion rights?
Absolutely. I think the U.S. is once again leading by very poor example. We're all going backwards. In Malta's case, it might look like we're going forwards, but actually we're going backwards, which is one of the reasons why we recently launched, as Doctors for Choice, our abortion doula service. Myself and one other colleague, Dr. Natalie Psyla, actually answer calls from women who are having abortions right now, and we try to help them. We give them all the information that they need to have a safe abortion on the island, bearing in mind that most of them are having abortions on their own, totally alone.
What do you say to people on the other side of this argument, people who have strong-held religious objections to abortion?
I say to them, please make a decision for yourself, but do not impose that decision on the rest of us. There is absolutely no reason why one's personal views on religion should in any way impact other people. This is, after all, what reproductive justice is about.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there. Isabel Stabile, gynecologist in private practice at St. James Hospital in Malta. Thanks so much for joining us here on France 24.
You're welcome. Thank you.